Hello everyone! This is a tutorial of sorts of how I put together and upholstered this Alison Davies bed. And this is only part 1, putting the bed together, gilding it, upholstering the bed heads, making the mattress and upholstering that as well. I will show you how to make the bed hangings in another video. So let's begin. The bed comes as a kit in a plastic bag with lots of parts, and to get an understanding of what the real bed looks like, just go to Alison Davies' website, alisondaviesminiatures.co.uk, and you'll find it under Furniture and Beds. And just to let you know, this video is in no way sponsored. I bought the bed myself, and Alison Davies does not know I'm making this video. Anyway, here's a photo of the original bed, and it says on the website, the real life-size 18th century French canopy bed, or lit à baldaquin, can be found in the Musée Josje, which is in Paris. The bed dates from around 1785, and the bed is an almost exact copy of the museum piece. I found a lovely short video of the museum on YouTube, which briefly shows you the bed as well, and I'll put a link of that in the description. The photos on Alison Davies' website also have the instructions for the bed, which I downloaded and printed. You don't have to do that, I just find it easier to work from paper instructions. I then put all the bed parts on the corresponding instructions page and did a dry assembly of the bed, with a bit of painter's tape to hold it all together. It is a little bit small, but with upholstery, I'm going to have a little think about it. I do really like it. It's so beautiful. All the detail is really nice. Look at all that. Oh, can you see that? I really like that. Okay, I've taken the bed out again and it has fallen apart. Doesn't matter. Because I am now going to follow the steps of the instructions, and I have to clean the metal parts and then glue them, and some of the parts anyway, and then upholster the bed ends. But first I will have to take it apart first. The bed has been cast from lead-free pewter, and before the real assembly begins, the bed parts have to be cleaned and some of the sprue parts removed. I used my large half-round file for this and some sandpaper, and even though the file is large, it has a very fine cut, so you can do fine work with it. The pewter is soft, so it's quite easy to remove sprues or give some parts a bit more definition, like this area of the bed crown here, which was a bit flat on the top. Okay, I have filed off all the bits that were sticking out, and it's nice and smooth, and I've cleaned them in a little bit of dishwashing, just hot water with a little bit of dishwashing liquid, which really cuts through the grease. And I can tell you there was a lot of dirt coming off, but now they're clean, and I just have to dry it, and then I'll glue it together and start gilding. And the description says to use super glue and super glue accelerator. Now I don't have super glue accelerated, but I do have baking soda, and apparently that works as an accelerator for super glue, so I'm going to use that. And I have a little bit here. And some super glue. I just got a fresh one, so that should be fine. That's the top, so that comes down like that to the outside. And I've cleaned everything up, sanded it, and now I have to align that properly and glue that in. Let's see. Now I'm not sure when I'm supposed to put the accelerator on, because once I put this on, there's no way for it to reach the glue. I don't know. I'll do it anyway. I don't know what that's for, to be honest. Maybe to fill the gaps. Who knows? I can do that a little bit. Because it does fill those gaps. Oh, maybe that's it. Let me put some more of that on there. In there. Because apparently you can also sand it off again, and it makes a really strong bond. Not sure if I'm supposed to do it like that. And I'll file it off. Doesn't matter. It is holding though. Well, don't know if that's what I was supposed to do, but it's working. It does leave a bit of a mess, but I'll clean that up later. And the other thing is, the curtains, the bed curtains are going to be in there, attached in there, so you won't be seeing that. So basically you can hide the mess well, not you, I'm making a mess, but well, that did work. So we'll do that with the next one as well. Yeah, that comes off really well. Which is a bit of a strange thing, because that means that the whole thing could come apart really easily as well. But maybe it needs just a little bit more drying time for the bond to be much stronger. I don't know. And I repeated the process on the decorations for the bed canopy. I filed them, sanded them, and washed them. Now, there are no instructions as to where to place the decorations, but I've decided to place one in the front center, and then the other two over the legs of the canopy. So there's 3 decorations, and you have to bend them so that they follow the curve of the canopy. A little bit of super glue on here. So I've sanded them, cleaned them up, and I know where to put them. Oh. That's already stuck. And for the center one, I did measure a little bit. I'm usually pretty good in positioning by eye. And I just put a little mark there. So there's one front center. And then there's one over the back leg. And the other one is going over the other back leg. And then they are positioned equally. Well, not entirely, but yeah, it's pretty good. But I kind of like this front center. And I think in Alison's description, or you're not supposed to glue these on before you put the bed together. But because I want to gild them, I have done that. I find it works really well. So, and it was easy to position these because the legs were on. So. Yep. Let that dry again. And we can start gilding. I have cleaned up the inside, and it wasn't that much work actually. I just filed it and sanded it a little bit, and the lumpy baking soda and super glue blobs came right off. So it looks very clean now. And according to the instructions, I now have to put a primer on the metal before I can paint it, and I'll do that right now. I used the Army Painter primer, Fur Brown, and I sprayed it on there, and it was really quick, and it has a beautiful cover actually. Really like this. And I just suspended the bed crown from a metal wire and the spraying outside as always. So, but this was really quick, and now it just has to dry. And while that was drying, I cleaned all the other pewter parts of the bed and spray painted those as well. Now, on to the gilding. I use an acrylic gold size, and size is the adhesive which is used for attaching gold leaf to surfaces. For this project I'm using 23.75 carat real gold leaf on transfer sheets. And if you want an explanation of how I gild my miniatures, I made a tutorial in 3 parts on gilding years ago, and it's still available on my channel, so go and check that out if you like. Okay, I think that's the first pass of the gold leaf done, and I'll check it later and maybe go over it in some. I can see a few spots again, but it looks great. I love it. And then of course I gilded the rest of the metal parts of the bed as well. Well, I finished all of the gilding, and this time it did take a lot of gold leaf. I used 16 sheets, and that's because it was quite intricate, and these flat bits were easy, but the intricate parts that took a lot of gold. And yeah, sorry about the grubby nails. I've been working in the garden today. There, put this to the side, because now I have to start upholstering the sides of the bed. And what I've done, because this this goes on there. And the upholstery has to go, well, it ideally would be underneath. There's not a lot of space. So what I've done is I've put a pencil mark around the edge where the top of the side of the bed will go. So I know where the edge of the upholstery should be. And I've decided to go, for the bed, I've decided to go with this, well, now it looks blue, but depending on how you put the fabric on there. This will go on the bed, and I will put the this one with the flowers on the bed crown, and probably the bolster cushions and some of the decorative touches. I'll use this one, but this is what I'll be using, and it should be the green. And then I have some felt, because that's what I use to make a little bit of padding. So I've got thicker felt, and I've got thinner felt, and I've got really thin felt. I've got several thicknesses, and I think 2 layers will be enough. So I'll cut that in the shape of the bed, what is that called? Bed ends. And then I'll just glue them on very carefully, because you don't want to have big dollops of glue, because it will seep through, and you can see that because it won't be as round anymore. It will have a little indentation if you use too much glue, which doesn't look so nice. So I'll do that now. Just take some paper and copy the shape of the bed ends on there. Then draw a line about 5 millimeters in, all around, and cut it out. Then pin the paper onto the felt and cut out 4 pieces. Next, take the paper template again and make it about 1 centimeter smaller all around, and cut it out. Pin that to the felt again and cut 4 of these smaller shapes out of the felt as well. Now take the smaller felt shape and place it in the center of the larger felt shape, using only a whisper of glue to attach it. Then, staying on the same side as where we've just placed the smaller shape, put a little bit of glue all around the edge of the larger shape, turn it over and glue it to the bed end, leaving the edges of the bed ends free. And do that on all 4 sides of the bed ends. Now, if that was going a bit fast for you, I'll be showing a similar process of felt layering in a bit more detail later in the video. Next, cut 4 rectangular pieces of fabric, just slightly bigger than the bed ends. Pay attention to the direction of the weave and, if necessary, the pattern of the fabric so that it all matches. Then put a little bit of glue along the bottom edge of the bed end, and again use the glue sparingly, and attach the bottom edge of your fabric to it. Leave that to dry, and in the meantime do the same thing on the other 3 sides of the bed ends. Be very careful you don't stain the fabric with glue that's on your fingers or on your workbench. Repeat the same process on the top edges of the bed ends, and then again on the side edges of the bed ends. And again, use the glue sparingly. Be careful with glue on your fingers and workbench to avoid stains. When you press the fabric down onto the glued edge, you can pull it a bit. Not too hard, but just so that it nicely stretches over the felt, taking away any wrinkles in the fabric. after you've glued all the edges and the glue has dried, cut away the excess fabric using the edge as a guide. And to prevent fraying of the fabric, I put a little bit of glue on the cut edges. And the gilded decorative top still fitted perfectly on the bed ends. I have upholstered the headboards, and on this one I temporarily put the side pieces on. But as you can see, that edge will show, and which I don't really like. Although you won't really be able to tell. Well, I don't know. I think you can tell. I just don't like it. So I thought maybe I can put some ribbon on it or think of some other solution. But I did find silk ribbon in a matching color, so I decided to use that. I glued it onto the sides, again using tacky glue very sparingly, and being mindful not to stain the silk, because that can be done so easily. Now that I put the ribbon in place, I could finally glue the gilt metal tops to the bed ends, and I used just a few dots of superglue for that. And I did the same with the legs and the little strips of bed edging at the bottom. Then it was just a matter of gluing the side edging to the bed ends, and there was the bed. There. The next step is to, that needs to be glued. And I haven't glued that yet because I still need to do the bed curtains. So that would be easier if I can take it off. But the next step is to make the, let's see, there, the mattress. And what I think I'll do, I'll get something like this. Oh, that's a tiny bit too big. Just a bit of multiplex, or plywood, I think it's called in English. And, well, not that size, of course, that's too small. Just build it up a little bit, make it higher, and then, again, with some felt, make the mattress. Okay, the bed base, or the mattress. I'm using this is the base of the bed that came with the kit. And I'm using that as a template. And I just found 3 bits of, well, there's some plywood and there's a bit of MDF. And if I stack them together, that's quite a thick mattress. So I don't know if I'll use 2 or 3, we'll see. But I'll start with this one because that actually has, that's the right size. Because I want the mattress to be slightly smaller than the bed base, because we're going to put, or I'm going to, you're not doing anything. I'm going to put some felt around it, so I need a little bit of room for the felt as well. So actually this one is perfect. Like butter. Okay, so there we are. It's slightly smaller than the bed base, so I can put the felt around it as well. I'll cut another one. 2 bits of plywood, which I've rounded the corners and I've sanded the edges, and I will just glue them together. A little bit of glue. Oh yes, and the other thing I thought would be nice to do is to cover the underside of the bed base with a little bit of linen. And no one's ever going to see that, because who's going to look underneath? But I just like the idea. And I do have some linen here. So I'll just turn over the edges and glue those, and then do the same for the other side. And I'll use tacky glue. Well, that has dried, so I can put that in. Let's see. Even kijken. There. Ah, no, it's supposed to go the other way around. Oh, okay. Now I can put that in, and I have to put it in this way. There. So, well, no one's going to see that, but oh well, something I'd like to do. And that will be the mattress. Yeah, I don't want it any higher, because otherwise this distance, this is going to be too short. And there's also going to be a bolster cushion on here, so that's fine. Now, I don't actually have a lot of felt left, but I do have this. I don't even know what it is. Very soft, like a what they used on beds. It's really old. Or an old sweater. You can use that as well. Okay, so that has to dry. I'll let that dry, I don't know, half an hour, maybe less. I mean, it's tacky glue, and tacky glue dries quite quickly. So probably 10 minutes is enough, but just to be safe. Because if you put the silk over top and the glue is wet, the glue may seep through the silk, which leaves an ugly stain, so you don't want that. So it's better to be safe than sorry. Just leave it to dry for half an hour, and then we'll cut these edges off, and the base will be finished. There. So just cut these edges off. Okay, I finished the bed, or the mattress, and now I have to upholster the mattress, which I will do in the same fabric as I put on the bed heads, and which is the silk. Now where is the, here. And I have to determine which way I'll put it, because if I put it the wrong way, if I put it, let's say I put it that way, oh, that's the right way. So here, look, you see that it's more blue, and in the same light, the bed ends, or the bed heads, are green. So if I turn that round, now it has the same color, which is quite important. just have to check. Yeah, that's the color I want. And also I have to think about how I want to finish the ends. And I think I will just fold them like that, because I could sew them, but I think you will see the holes of the needles and the thread because it's so fine, and I don't want that. Also, I was thinking, do I like it this flat, or do I want a little bit of a roundness to it? I think actually I would like it rounder. I think this is a little bit flat. That means I have to put another layer on there. I have just about enough room to do that on the sides. I have a tiny bit of room left. So I think I'll do that first. Just put some felt on there and then another layer of the thin fabric I put on there. So I'll do that. I'll cut this. Cut some of that a little bit bigger. That's fine. I still haven't got my pencil. I don't know what I did to that. And about here. I know some of you will cringe because I do this with a felt tip pen. I'm just making a tiny mark so I know where to cut. Okay, I don't have a lot of felt left, but I do have, or white felt anyway, I do have other colors, and this is a blue, it's a wool felt, a blue wool felt, and I don't think I'll be using a lot of this anyway, so I'll put that on there, then cover it with the white. And what I'll do is to get a bit of a domed effect, or, you know, like a little bit of a curve on there, make small patches like that, and then go bigger and bigger, and that will make it round.
So I'll use this one. That's the smallest one. And then we'll go one bigger, like that.
Scissors, they're so annoying. And it didn't used to do that. I've had them for many years, but it never did that. And now, last year or so, it's been doing that, and I don't understand why. Of course, it has to do with the friction of the cut. I understand that, but I don't know why all of a sudden it's doing that. I think that's maybe I'll do one more. So now I have a few layers. And if you look at the side, I don't know if that shows. There's a slight roundness to it. And then, should I use that? I think I will. And the idea is, of course, that you don't see the edges of that felt. It has to look like it's a natural graduation of thicknesses. And now, if I put the other felt, or it's not really felt, the fabric over top of that, the same way I did it before, then you get a really nice tight finish, and you can't see the felt that's underneath. And I don't glue these layers. They will just, you could really tack them just a tiny bit so they don't, well, I'll do that, so they don't move around. But when I say a tiny bit, I really mean a tiny bit, because you don't really need to put on lots of fabric, lots of glue. It's just not necessary. And all you want to do is make sure it doesn't shift or move around when you're working with it. The less glue, the better. No glue is probably even best. Okay, so I'm using natural fabrics. Like this is wool and this is a cotton, I think. And the top fabric will be silk. The disadvantage of using natural fabrics, of course, is that little bugs like them. So if you have moths or, other little beasties, that's really annoying. The good thing about natural fabrics is that they're really easy to handle, and they're just so much more beautiful, I think, than most man-made fabrics. Now you can see those edges, that really doesn't show at all. So it's really nice. I'll do the same thing I did on the other, the other layers. Cut the corners and then fold them in like that. Be easier to see what I'm doing. Glue that. The mattress base is finished and the glue has dried, and now I will put the silk on it. And I have decided I will fold it and glue it on the back, and also fold the edges like that, and then you won't see it on the front. So that's what I'll do. So I'll do the short sides first, make sure it's straight, glue that, then glue that, etc. And again, I'll be using tacky glue. I just have to check again that it's straight onto the fabric. There. And because I'm working with the silk now, it's very important that you keep your hands clean when you're handling it. So now I got some glue on my fingers, and you really have to make sure that that's not on there when you continue with the silk, because it will stain. Look, see that? Leaves ugly stains. So don't do that. Clean your hands. So now I have to do the other side. And I keep checking that it's straight. And here you can see a little line. And again, this is a hand-woven fabric, so it's never going to be perfect, which is part of the charm, I think. Makes it look more beautiful. But I do want that to be straight. I don't want that to have be a wobbly line. And maybe I should have placed that in the middle. Or maybe that would have been too obvious. I don't know. It's not quite in the middle. I think that's good. Put a little more glue here. That's not going anywhere. As if there's a lot going on that bed. I'll just cut these away, because then there's less bulk underneath the mattress. I keep saying mattress. Of course, it's not really a mattress, but that's what it's supposed to look like. And I was just thinking of mattresses, and wouldn't it be fun to make a real one with springs and everything, and maybe put that in the attic somewhere so you can see it, because that's what I think is such a shame if you're doing so much work on making, for instance, a beautiful mattress with springs and the way it's supposed to be, and you can't see it. It will be hidden underneath the bedding. So, okay, for a second there I thought I made a mistake, but no, I haven't. Because this is going like so, and then this folds to the side like that, and then I'll have to fold that again. And I thought I made a mistake, but this is the way it's supposed to be. So the next fold will be this one, and I'll glue that. And if I would have made a mistake, I could have always, cut another piece of fabric and do it again. Never fun, but, Same for the other side. Also, when you're turning it over, here's a little bit of glue sticking out there as well. When you're turning it over to look at it and you're putting it down onto your work surface, and the glue gets onto your work surface and you're flipping it back over again, putting it down again, then the glue will be on your silk as well. So, that's the negative thing of using glue. You have to be aware of what you're doing all the time. Keep your hands clean and keep your work surface clean. Because look, those are the stains that the glue will make, and they're not coming out. Whatever you do, they will stay in there. So that looks good. Really like that. So I'm going to let that dry again, and then fold in these edges, cut that off and fold that in. So now I'll fold these over, and basically it's like wrapping a parcel, really. So just fold that this way and pull it tight, and then make sure that's tight as well. And that actually disappears behind here. So if you have a tiny bit of a fold here, you won't be able to see it. So I'll just put a little dab of glue there. Oh, that was not a little dab of glue. That was a lot of glue. The nice thing with tacky glue is that it really does grab the fabric. And again, natural fabrics are much easier to work with than synthetic fabrics. Okay, so I'll do the same with this side. If you're wondering about the birds you're constantly hearing, that's because the weather's really nice and I've got my doors open. So, and they just, sing all the time, so which is rather nice. But of course you can hear them really well. I don't mind. I hope you don't. mind either. And if I say I don't mind, I actually really enjoy the birds. So these anyway, and it's mostly what you're hearing now. I think it's house sparrows. Are they called? Yeah, sparrows, and blackbird. A blackbird. So I'll leave that to dry, and then I'll cover this, make it look a little bit nicer. I've just cut a little rectangle to cover that a little bit. And it really isn't necessary because you won't be able to see it. But I don't know. I don't know why I do that. I just thought it would be nice. And that really wasn't necessary at all because you won't be able to see it. Well, let me just slide that in there. And see, the size of the wood was perfect with the felt and the fabric and the silk over top. Really good. And there. I'll put it in the room and show you what it looks like. Of course, it's not finished yet, but for today, it is. There. Yep, quite happy with that. Looks really nice. Color's good. So, well, that's it for today. Next time I'll have to make the bed curtains and some pillows and maybe some bedding as well. I don't know yet. But that's for next time. See you then. Bye.